Good Tuesday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Conversations on the News. Glad you all could be with us. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Tuesday. Have a message from my book, Word That Choose to Live By. In today's news, you can use here in part of my conversation with Chef Michael Symon, discussing how they're partnering with Ecolab to discuss the importance of cleanliness while you're traveling. You don't want to miss that. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversations on the News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Tuesday headlines. In national news, Johnson's speakership hangs in the balance as ouster threat looms, says CNN. House Speaker Mike Johnson pushed to pass a major foreign aid package over the objections of hardline conservatives. Now the Louisiana Republican will have to face the fallout, says CNN. On Monday evening, the House returned to session following a week-long recess after the chamber's consequential move to pass billions of dollars in aid for Ukraine, Israel, and the Indo-Pacific region. Looming over Johnson as lawmakers came back to Washington was the question of whether he will face a vote over his ouster. The Speaker's decision to move the aid package won significant praise on both sides of the aisle, with many Republicans and Democrats commending Johnson over the assistance to key U.S. allies. Johnson has defended his leadership in the face of the growing threats, saying that he will not resign and warning that a vote to oust him could cause chaos in the House. A number of conservatives, however, opposed the legislation and sending further aid to Ukraine in particular. GOP Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia said that Johnson betrayed Republican voters following passage of the foreign aid and has threatened to call a vote on his ouster if he doesn't resign. Greene argued following the House vote that more House Republicans will support her effort to remove Johnson after going home over recess and hearing from their constituents. It's still not clear, though, says CNN, when or whether a vote to decide Johnson's political fate will come up. Many Republicans have warned against an ouster vote, fearing it could throw the House GOP conference into chaos yet again, and pointing to the contentious weeks-long fight for a new speaker after former Speaker Kevin McCarthy was ousted in an unprecedented vote last year as a cautionary tale. A floor vote to oust Johnson would require a majority to succeed. If a vote were triggered, a motion to table or kill the resolution could be offered and voted on first. That vote would also require a simple majority to succeed. In more national news, Israel-Hamas war protesters defy Columbia University's deadline to disband camp or face suspension. Colleges around the U.S. implored pro-Palestinian student protesters to clear out 10 encampments with rising levels of urgency on Monday, including an ultimatum from Columbia University for students to sign a form and leave the encampment by the afternoon or face suspension. Columbia activists defied the 2 p.m. deadline with chants, clapping, and drumming from the encampment of more than 300 people. No officials appeared to enter the encampment, with at least 120 tents staying up as the deadline passed. The notice sent Monday by the Ivy League University in Manhattan to protesters in the encampment said that if they left by the deadline and signed a form committing to abide by university policies through June 2025 or an earlier graduation, they could finish the semester in good standing. If not, the letter said, they will be suspended pending further investigation. Early protests at Columbia, where demonstrators set up tents in the center of the campus, sparked pro-Palestinian demonstrations across the country. Students and others have been sparring over the Israel-Hamas war and its mounting death toll. Many students are demanding their universities cut financial ties with Israel. The number of arrests at campuses nationwide is approaching 1,000. In entertainment news, the Rolling Stones showed no signs of slowing down as they begin their latest tour with Texas shows as the Associated Press. Time marches on and all good things must come to an end, but don't tell that to the Rolling Stones. What many believe to be the greatest rock and roll band in the world showed no signs of slowing down anytime soon as they kicked off their latest tour Sunday night at Houston's NRG Stadium. The Stones have been touring for more than 60 years. Frontman Mick Jagger and lead guitarist Keith Richards are both 80, with guitarist Ronnie Wood not far behind at 76. Their tour is being sponsored in part by AARP. But during a vibrant 2-hour show, the Stones played with the energy of a band that was on tour for the first time. Jagger often strutted up and down the stage with seemingly boundless energy, while Richards and Woods played many familiar guitar riffs beloved by fans. Jagger often led the audience in sing-alongs. The energy level is up, and it's always up with them. The age doesn't show, the Stones' production director said before the concert. The Stones have hit the road to support the release of their latest album, the band's first record of original music since 2005. And finally, in business news, Wall Street edges higher at the start of a busy week, says the Associated Press. Stocks edge higher as Wall Street readies for a week packed with potentially market-moving news. The S&P 500 rose 0.3% Monday. The Dow Jones Industrial Average climbed 0.4%, and the Nasdaq Composite rose 0.3%. Amazon and Apple will report their latest earnings results this week, along with roughly a third of the companies in the S&P 500. The Federal Reserve will also announce its latest decision on interest rates on Wednesday, with virtually everyone expecting it to stand pat. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's time for a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. Enjoy. Good Tuesday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Words I Choose to Live By. Each season brings its share of rain, but know that rain can serve many purposes. Just as it might accompany the dark clouds of despair, it can wash away the hurt and feelings of unworthiness that might be holding you down. Don't run from the storm. Let it do its work. Have an amazing Tuesday. We are part of my conversation coming up with Chef Michael Symon in today's Entertainment Spotlight. Stay with us. You're listening to Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your News You Can Use. Chef Michael Symon joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about the importance of scientific clean for restaurants, hotels, and businesses. It's a bit of our conversation. But Chef Symon, thank you so much for the time. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Cyrus. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. And this is such an important topic because, as I mentioned, of course, we know that we all like to go out and about. But, of course, being safe and clean are so important. So what does cleanliness do for restaurants, hotels, and other public spaces, Chef?
But, I think for me, like whether I'm at home or in one of my restaurants or we're doing a show on the Food Network, it's the number one priority always has to be cleanliness. It's why I partnered up with Ecolab and the Ecolab Science Certified program is to continue to make things cleaner and safer. That way, when the guest comes to the restaurant, they can enjoy their experience at the restaurant without worrying about it being cleanly.
Love that. And I have to say, Chef, when I was in another life, when I was a general manager of a hotel, I know Ecolab was a big part of our campaign, of course, to make sure that we're staying clean. But why is this level of clean so important for business owners?
Well, I think that the program addresses that. Like, guests always have high expectations for cleaning. So that we're taking the time to make sure that things are disinfected, food safety, and it helps partners streamline operations, so it builds up that guest loyalty for the business. And we want to make sure that our consumers are safe, and we also want them to be loyal customers. So I think it helps bridge that gap.
Such a great point. So I think, for our audience out there, some of them are small businesses. We're getting ready to go into Small Business Week and Small Business Month next month. Chef, what are some of the components of the program that you can tell us about?
With the program, you get a few key elements that I think are essential for business owners. You get those innovative products, which are great. The in-depth training, which for us has been incredibly instrumental, and all that breakthrough technology. It helps streamline operations from the back of the house to the front of the house, and it really gives you that consistent performance that you're looking for. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'll be back to get on tomorrow with more news, a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and of course, your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today, and let's go make today amazing. Take care.